Hello, it's system overview time. Today I'm going to show you this. It is the Mattel Aquarius. Made, predictably, by Mattel. Actually produced for Mattel by Radofin, the people who made that console I showed you a few days ago. Radofin in Hong Kong. It's a Z80 based machine, runs at 3.5 megahertz. It's got 4K of RAM. The most notable thing about it visually is the keyboard, which is rubbery, squishy. It feels a lot like the Spectrum keyboard. It's quite a nice looking machine. I'll show you a little bit more. You've got in the back, yeah, what have we got? Yeah, TV out, which is just RF. I'm trying to read it backwards because it shows back to front on my camera. Cassette input with a how many 5-pin DIN socket, and this is a printer socket. I have no idea what kind of printer would connect to that. That's just weird, but there you go. And then you have a cartridge socket here in that. Now I've got the camera pointing at it, I can't make it come off. And it nearly falls off normally. There, it's like that. Cartridge socket there. In some ways it's not unlike the TI-99/4A in the way the cartridge socket is sort of stuck in the side at the front, rear facing, but it's kind of odd. It's interesting in terms of styling. And now I can't get it there. The power supply, this, you would think, given that it's hardwired, that this would just be going straight to a power socket plug thing to plug in the wall, but no, it's wired up to a brick, which then has your plug on the end. It's a nice long cable, which is good. I just find it odd that that's hardwired onto it. It's also a pain in the arse for trying to do this video because I've got the cable in the way. Yeah. What can I tell you about this? Produced in 1983, sold for $160 in the US. I'm not actually seeing written anywhere what it sold for in the UK, but I think it was around the £99 mark, but I could be wrong. In the US it was aimed at the TI-99/4A and the VIC-20. In terms of capability it's inferior to both, because, well, it just is. It's got 4K of RAM. That was expandable. You could get a 16K RAM pack, and I don't know what else, probably bigger ones as well. You could get a an expansion thing just here that you could plug in joypads, and the joypads are sort of a little bit Mattel Intellivision-ish. They've got the disc, but they're not the same. Yeah, you could get this expansion thing for plugging in joypads and a RAM pack, and there's a tape recorder thingy. I kind of imagine you would have to have the 16K RAM pack to load tape games, but I could be wrong. In the UK, this was marketed as a Spectrum beta, as in it would beat the Spectrum. Well, as in beta, it's not ready yet. Would it beat a Spectrum? Not on your Nelly, no. The only way it could beat the Spectrum was on price. It was cheaper. And the way it was marketed was you bought the basic machine like this and it was cheaper than a Spectrum, and then if you wanted more power, and by God you would, you had to buy extra stuff like extra memory and the pads and the tape recorder and blah blah blah. Basically out of the box it's rubbish. And then you would add stuff if you could find it, if you could afford it, because I think the add-ons were quite expensive. Needless to say, this strategy didn't work. They withdrew it within about 4 months of it going on sale. They sold, well, they produced about 80,000, I believe. How many were sold? I don't know. It's described as being rare, but there never seems to be a shortage of them on eBay. You can usually, you know, they'll come up several a month in my experience. Let's I'll show you I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm going to show you the cartridge actually. This is interesting. They come in a nice box. This is Night Stalker. Interesting in that this and most of the other games that were produced for it you can also get for the Mattel Intellivision. What's also interesting is whereas Atari games that were produced for their console and for their computers, they were better on the computer than on the consoles. Other way around here, this Night Stalker on here is significantly more limited than it is on the Intellivision, and that was the way it was with most of the games on here. That's the cartridge. I mean, it's a big funky shape, and in fact exactly the same shape as that insert that I took out, and it goes in there like that. Hey presto. I imagine it's mostly fresh air inside this. Very few connections on the thing, hard to show you. You know, it's your typical ROM cartridge. I don't know how much memory is on there, but it's the game itself. Actually, the game is quite enjoyable. I quite like it. What's also interesting is what comes with it in the box. The cartridge fits inside the little plastic inlay tray doofer thing, and with it you get, whoops, I'm dropping it, you get your manual that you probably ought to read, because like me you might get confused. You get little overlays to go on your joy pads if you've got them, made in Hong Kong written on the back, and they're just directional controls. And you get these, which are kind of cool, I don't know, but they go on your keyboard. Let's see if I can work out which way that's meant to go on here, like that. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll hold it up and show you in a moment. I'm just there. So it's kind of like you can move and shoot in different directions and control them with these keys here, and that is actually quite cool. I like that. I mean, there is a lot about this computer that is not very impressive, but I like these overlays. I think that's a good idea, and I think it would have been good had more computer manufacturers or software manufacturers, developers, publishers, whatever, done that. Would have made life easier. But then of course, if you had joysticks you wouldn't have needed that, but the twin joystick-ish effect there was good, in that you could fire and move in different directions and have the thing to tell you what buttons to press, because people like me had a bit and have a bit of trouble remembering what buttons to press. I'm good at that. Forgetting, I mean. That is it really. There's not a whole lot more I can tell you, I don't think. I've only got the one game, I can't show you any more. What are they worth on eBay? I'm not entirely sure actually. It kind of depends. They are supposed to be quite rare, but they're also widely considered to be rubbish, so the desirability is kind of limited. I think you should be able to pick one up. £50 should absolutely get you one. I wouldn't be surprised to see them going for considerably less. I wouldn't also be surprised to see people trying to sell them for considerably more. And I just guess it depends on what kind of day people are having, how much one would reasonably sell for. Interesting as a collector's item. As a gaming machine, better off with an Intellivision. Okay, thank you for watching.